Okay, here we go again. I've been through a lot before this video, you're just not aware of it. Talk about mishaps and shenanigans. Um, so this is OBS. I recorded a Bonk playthrough video of the first level. I even beat the boss of the first level. But this wasn't calibrated correctly. As you can see, this is your mic volume sensitivity versus the background desktop audio, which is the computer system sound coming from the Realtek speakers. So this has to be much lower than the mic. Otherwise, you're not going to hear my voice over the game. And that's what happened is, like part of the way you could, but then as it progressed, my voice became more and more faint. And unfortunately, I lost all of that. I'm going to have to do it again au natural, and I'm not even going to try to remember anything I said in the video. I'm just going to try to, that's why I took a long break before I came back, to try to just start fresh and do this again. And the way that I look at it, it's more of a brain reset, battery reset in your brain and your neurology, because that's basically how you do not become exhausted, is because it's virtually impossible to repeat a past video. Just trying to remember everything you said before is just become exhausting. So it's better to just rest your memory banks. Go for a walk, which is exactly what I did. I went for a walk with my cat, Mortimer. Oh, shout out to Mortimer on TikTok. Yeah, but maybe I can make a video of him too. But yeah, because I want the arcade tavern to be. It's kind of hard to just do exclusively just only video games when obviously there's so much more to life than that is actually pretty much easily connected to video games. That's another thing that's funny, is like there's not one thing in life that you can't connect to a video game, or pretty much say is not in a video game. Video games are basically a simulation of real life in graphical form or coding form. Anyways, so enough of that. I don't care if I'm drawing a blank. I'm just going to go ahead. So I've already done a test, and this mic is completely adequate. It's funny how, like technological and high tech it makes my cheap microphone from Walmart look, but this is a very good program. Another thing I wanted to mention is I did run out of disk space. My RAM on this computer is just completely depleted. I've known it for some time, so usually when I try to download more than one game, and the game, it says it'll stop the middle of the download and say the disk is full, disk space is full, which is your uh memory RAM space or whatever. And two things I want to say. One, yeah, I've known it's gone out for a while. And usually I can get a pretty good idea, just an instinct of what programs are taking up all the space. This time it would be Roblox Studio development tools. It's the development engine for Roblox, because I'm still developing a Roblox game, which is my main game project. I don't want to see main, but it is. And I have Microsoft Tools and C Sharp and all the implementations of that, which there's a bunch of extra uh, tech that I needed to integrate into the Godot engine, which is a French software. It's like open source, so because it's stuff that you have to end up running a server with so that people can play my game online. It's my own thing that I'll get all, you know, what do you call it, monetary or all profits from, since I'm using an open source development engine. See, I have a lot of energy. I ate some garlic, went for a walk. I'm good. Refresher. Anyway, anyways, so moving on. This is Bonk. So yeah, this program's working so much better. I'm pretty sure I've already vented my frustration about the Microsoft Xbox Game Bar not cooperating. I can't do this full screen, so first I'll just go ahead and start the game first, which I'll load the core that supports TurboGrafx 16 ROMs, or it's basically has all the BIOS of that necessary to run TurboGrafx 16, and then I will go ahead and look this game up. Bonk's Adventure. There's so much I want to say about this. So, and you know the worst thing about this is to me this is really loud, but to OBS software my mic is much louder because that's how it's recording it. And I deleted every video that I've ever recorded on this thing, so there should be plenty of disk space for my shenanigans. Should be more than enough. So I'm gonna close the screen a little more because it's lagging a little bit. Oh man, I could say things about disk space right now, but I'm not going to. Like a lot of it was like there was a lot of online stuff too, like website cookies and websites pushing their stuff onto my system that I didn't want. I just got rid of that too somehow. But yeah, I really so I found out a little bit more information since the last time I did this. And I pretty much know for sure that the TurboGrafx 16 system, it came out before Super Nintendo, and that's one of the things that made it so appealing. And I think the software company that manufactured it um, knew that was going to make it seem more appealing because they were getting the jump on Nintendo. Everybody was like, "Oh, you know, Super Nintendo. We're waiting for Super Nintendo to come out." But at the same time, like they're making this, you know, at the same time they're making this system, this advanced TurboGrafx 16 system that came out after Sega Genesis. You know, it's coming out like before Super Nintendo. You know, and I mean, and even then, it competed with Super Nintendo. It was a competitor. Super Nintendo wasn't even out yet. Everybody knew Super Nintendo was coming out, but you know, uh, it wants me to hit the run button to start the game. Like, why isn't this game starting? This is annoying. Okay, so okay, finally. But anyway, there's just some things I want to really say really quick about TurboGrafx 16. So I had this magazine, and I had Sonic the Hedgehog, Bonk, and Mario on front of the magazine. They were the three 16-bit systems competing with each other. Just the sheer nerve that TurboGrafx 16 thought it could compete with Super Nintendo. It wanted people. I hate to say this, but it wanted people. It wanted the public to think that it was a competitor. That's why I tried to get the jump on it, because obviously if it came out after Super Nintendo, nobody would have cared. So basically, to explain, long story short, a Japanese company said, "Hey, we're gonna just create this other 16-bit system because we can to come out before the Super Nintendo, and it's gonna make news and it's gonna make publicity, and people are gonna buy it because Super Nintendo's not gonna come out for another year." So they're gonna buy this system because, oh, it's this new system. It's supposed to be, and it is a 16-bit system. It is, and in a lot of ways it can compare to the Super Nintendo. But as far as Nintendo's technology, it could not compare to that. It could not do the things that they were making. Uh, the coding and the game packs and everything, the programming, everything that they made Super Nintendo graphics do, PlayStation 4 couldn't even do it, man. Seriously, I'm serious. Like, I just played a remake of a Super Nintendo game that came out in 2018, and the engine they used, they didn't even take the time to do a zoom in of when you were falling down to the earth. That's exactly what I mean. I mean, the Super Nintendo was so advanced. It really still is. The things that it did with the graphics. But this everybody wanted this system though. And I had magazines. You know, I had a magazine with Bonk in it. And it's so appealing. Even after the fact, you still want a piece of the action. You still remember that feeling. Oh man, I want a TurboGrafx 16 so bad. Super Nintendo's not out yet. It's this new 16-bit system. Came out after Sega. Super Nintendo's not out yet. This is like the big thing, the next big technology. Man, I really want this. It's the only place where you can play Bonk. They have this game exclusive called Bonk. And and you know, now that I play this and I finally get to play it, I would see it in magazines and when I was a little kid, and I was like, oh man, I want to play Bonk so much. I want a piece of this enjoyment. I want a piece of this to experience this technology. And now I finally get to, and that's one of the good things about, you know, the aftermath of everything is that with technology catching up with itself, you know, you can emulate things. And I don't have a shader on this right now, but yeah, that was 1990, and then 1991 Super Nintendo came out. So yeah, I had to get those facts straight. But yeah, this is a really amazing game. It's a character that they, like I said, I'll show you the magazine later in another video and talk more about it and show you the magazine. But like I said, it was a character that competed with Sonic the Hedgehog and Mario. He uses his head to bash things, to climb. He bites things, but he's not very fast. But I really did enjoy that last level playthrough of the video that didn't work. But anyway, let's get going. So yeah, this is Bonk. And, you know, me playing this now, I've wanted to play this, like, literally my entire life. I've wanted to play TurboGrafx 16 my entire life. There's no way my parents could have afforded that system. Nobody could. Like, I literally knew... I didn't know anybody that had a TurboGrafx 16. It was probably abnormally... obnoxiously, astronomically expensive at the time, because it was like, you know, the new 16-bit system, and they were, the way they were advertising it, it was so high tech. Turbo Grafx, you know, and it really, this really is an amazing game though. It really it holds up to its reputation. What is that, some kind of sacred mandrake? I mean, it's a really nice, well-controlled game. Whoever created it, and this guy, dude, whoever created it and programmed and everything, it's actually a really good game. It's a really solid, really good game. I can already tell by the first level. Look at that moon just floating up there like the Death Star. Like, what's up with that? So you get meat, that's kind of like your Mario star that makes you invincible. But you're not very fast. That's one thing about it. But yeah, it's amazing to finally get to play this. Like, I kind of think about how I would have done with the controls as a child. I feel like I definitely would have been very clumsy. That's another thing about after, you know, just after the fact, playing it much later. You know, I have a lifetime of accumulated video game experience, and I'm not even hesitant at all to keep building the experience, you know. Especially now that when you're an adult, because when you're an adult, like, you know, when you're more developed and whatnot, I mean, you're always growing, and you can still be as childish as you want and still have that child part of you. But I mean, your motor skills, I mean, your brain does develop and things like that in certain aspects. I think that's what's the greatest, one of the greatest things about being a kid is, you know, all that stuff. You're still, I don't want to say so much. Yeah, I mean, of course, innocence is part of it, but you're very ignorance is bliss kind of thing. Let's just say that, and you can still, you know, wanting to experience this is enough of being in that energy field of feeling. It's a really good game though, and there's things like that I've seen in the game that I can remember seeing in the magazine. Like it was literally probably like one of the first advertisements of Bonk. That magazine advertisement and everything. And it's definitely a dinosaur game, for sure. Definitely a dinosaur game. Prehistoric. And if I was gonna compare it to like Joe and Mac, or Adventure Island, Hudson Soft. You know, it's funny. I think Hudson Soft made this game too. They're just like a dinosaur game software. I mean, that might as well just be what they are. Like, you know, it's like they just make prehistoric games. Like, so they had a hand in. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I saw that in the magazine too, where the dinosaur had its mouth open and. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Bonks. I don't know who made Joe and Mac. That might have been another company. I know that Hudson Soft they were responsible for the Adventure Island games on NES, but they might not have made Joe and Mac. I don't know who made Joe and Mac. Joe and Mac was another prehistoric game. It was for Super Nintendo. But this is a great game. Like, it's literally... Oh my gosh. Why am I... So I can't hit anything when I'm transparent. I need to explore a little bit down here. I need some, like, life. I don't think that's life, though. Oh, there's... Oh, yeah, that's what I need down there. There's the big meat. Let's... Oh. 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 Oh, I didn't get it. Well, at least I can just turn invincible now. Just make it all the way out of here. I got up in that little orifice before and got that extra life, but now I'm not gonna bother this time around. Oh. Breaking things with my head. Yeah, this video is actually gonna be a success. Because I can still see the red light down there. It went off before because of my disk space running out. And I was like, why? I got so disenchanted. I was like, are you serious? Is OBS that bad? Yeah, I remember this guy from the magazine too. Like, this was like this huge section on the page of this guy. And I could tell by looking at him, he had like a helmet that you could break that he was wearing. And I beat this guy on the prior video, but this will be... After I beat this guy, I might talk a little more, but this will be the conclusion. I mean, you know, we all know I can't play through the entire Bonk game today. But it's a great game. I really like the game. I really opened up and just got in touch with, you know, I've really got in touch with myself lately with the things I really want and knowing the difference of what's valuable and what's not, and not getting lost in the rat race and just getting in touch with myself. And I think that's so important as a human being. To really be authentic in yourself, and this guy's not gonna let me. He's not gonna let me out of here. I don't even think I have another life. I might not beat him this time around. That would be unfortunate. He's still got one horn too. Come on, buddy. Get a little closer. There we go. Gotta be patient. He's more dangerous than you think. Oh. The controls are great, though. This is such a great game. Like, I can't even imagine what this would have been like to play as a little kid. But, you know, that's the thing, though, is when Super Nintendo came out, it didn't matter. It literally, it did not even matter. Nothing mattered. You know? Because that, and everybody knew that's what was gonna happen. Let me just beat this guy really quick. Keep all my lives. I can't live with that conclusion. But yeah, you know, but everybody knew, everybody had this feeling, oh man, like they knew what was coming with Super Nintendo. Like, it was like, you would see articles of Super Mario World, and it's just like the graphics were just beyond amazing. I mean, and they still are. They really still are. Especially compared to the two-dimensional games they make now. It was a whole other type of technology. They just use animation now for everything. Like see this? Like, if you look at this guy, you know, back then they used sprites for everything. And when you use sprites for everything, I don't know if you know what a sprite is, but a sprite is basically a bunch of pixels that are engineered and combined together to create an image, but you also have to facilitate those pixels to move as if it is an animation. But now, it's kind of unfortunate, the shortcuts they take and just the preference of technology in game development, because now they would just do an animated Bonk now. They would do an animation, either a three-dimensional computer animation or whatever, or even hand drawn, or just however they would want to do it. Nothing's pixels or sprites anymore. You just don't get that. It's just a lost technology. It's something that people just don't do anymore. Some people do. Probably in the indie circuit. I don't know. And there probably are. But most stuff's done with animation now. So if you're gonna get like a side-scroller game like this, it's gonna be an animated character. They're getting ready to come out with a new Castlevania game, and I'm definitely gonna pre-order it as soon as I get a chance. It's coming out in October, and I'm like so freaking excited about it. If you pre-order it, you get like the a la carte skin for the female protagonist, the Belmont. It's like a female Belmont this time. I mean, they've had them before, but I don't know. I mean, these days advertisements get so lost in the scramble, and you know, you don't have. They do have gaming magazines still. I mean, I should probably get the modern gaming magazines. Everything just gets so lost in the shuffle nowadays. in these debauched modern times. Like, um, I saw a really good PC gaming magazine that still exists. That's at Barnes and Noble. It was really nice. But yeah, I mean, but I'm sure there's like a gaming magazine that has probably has an article about the new Castlevania game. Back then, they had, like, man, when I was a kid, they had dedicated magazines to all the current systems that were out. You know, you didn't have to worry about knowing what was going to happen in the game world. Just like they had Wizard magazine for the comic book world. You know, same thing. Now, just the way media just has not had a chance to. Oh, that's such a shame. I could have got my life back. Yeah, like media just hasn't had a chance to catch up with itself because the world is ever changing and it's just changed so drastically. I gotta hit this guy right in the head. But it doesn't matter. You can just not even pay attention to it. It's not even important. You just have to find your outlet and what you feel is most important, what you like, and whatever. You know, the world is not meant to be kept up with. And that's the problem with humanity, is for some reason they feel obligated and they think they're forced to keep up with it and have to keep up with it. You really don't. It's a man-made thing, and if you want to get some Buddha, some ancient, like, mystic knowledge here, for more sages than just Buddha or all of them, they would tell you, just ignore the world, just because it's gonna keep changing, and it's not your responsibility to keep up with the world. It's a phenomena that is just gonna continue to change. And for a human being to actually think that it can change and adapt to it constant, that is not a reality that can actually not only does it need to happen, or does someone want it to, but it's just not even necessary, really. That's like me trying to play Fortnite or something. I have literally no interest. Because, hey, we all know, I haven't even got to play Bonk yet. But, who knows? Maybe someday I will try Fortnite. But I haven't even gotten to play these games that I wanted to play so long ago. The systems that my parents, or no parents back then, could afford. And, for example, another big one that I want to play is the Jaguar. I'm sure a lot of people know about the Jaguar, but the Atari Jaguar, that was one of the predecessors to Sega Saturn. Came before the Sega Saturn. Somehow an Atari system beat Sega in making a system before the next big system. So you had Jaguar, then you had Sega Saturn, which was the huge big thing. And then you had, nobody could afford one, man. And then you had, before that was Sega CD, but then after the Saturn, then of course you had the big Sony PlayStation, which pretty much changed everything. There's always a winner, okay? And we know that it's PlayStation. But Nintendo always wins too. Sega lost permanently. No more systems for Sega. And then Xbox came around and came on the block. Microsoft. And they always have done pretty good. But Nintendo always wins. Let's just say. And PlayStation. But it doesn't take away any motivation for me to want to play this highly technological TurboGrafx 16 that I saw advertised before Super Nintendo even came out. And it's amazing to finally get to play it, and it's more amazing than I thought it would be. This is really good graphics, really good gameplay mechanics. It's a world of dinosaurs. You know, it's funny how Super Mario World integrated like Dinosaur World into Super Mario World, because you know there's hardly any dinosaurs in that game. Like there's literally barely any. But I think that maybe they were trying to like smush Bonk a little bit with that and kind of like try to compete. So they made it seem like it was a dinosaur world, and I guess the reason, and it's taken me this long to realize. This is the funny thing about it. It's taken me this long to realize that Yoshi is the dinosaur. Is that he lived on that world, and there was like 8 or 9 different Yoshis or something, all different colors. You only play with the green one. Oh, look at this guy. Gee whiz, thanks. I feel a lot better, but there's no other dinosaurs except these weird dinosaurs on a certain level. I'm your new friend. Arf, arf, arf. Oh my gosh. What is anything if you're not sharing it with anyone else? That's the thing. Round one cleared. Such a great game. All right. So yeah, in conclusion, I feel great playing this. I have no regrets. Like I've tried. Like I remember I got my hands on like Bonk number 2 or Bonk 3. It was a different port for maybe a different system. Like it took me years to learn how to get around these cores, honestly. And a lot of it was because I was trying to run other emulation software besides this. Like I met like this one right here. I mess around a lot with PCSX2, PlayStation 2 emulator. But I've erased all those components already because I just didn't have the space. Um, Now I'm having to pick and choose what I want to run. I just run one thing at a time, which is kind of. That's why I wish I had a really high tech gaming computer, but I don't want to just willy nilly buy a sophisticated high tech, just at the speed of sound, just largest memory capacity, greatest memory card ever. I don't want to willy nilly just buy a gaming computer like that because I'm not that ignorant. Because the only reason I would do it is so that I would know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I could just run all these emulators at one time and there's no worry for space. I am almost, I'm pretty much 100% sure that if I got a gaming computer right now, I could run Roblox Studio Development and Godot and Microsoft Tools and C Sharp and all the server tools for that, and every emulator that I can ever imagine running, including PS2 and PS3. I wouldn't even go up to PS4, but just Xbox 360, which would be awesome. GameCube, um, the Wii, whatever. You know, I wouldn't have any trouble at all, and I can run it all at once, and that would be pretty awesome. And I wouldn't even have to own all those at once. I really wouldn't desire that. There's only a handful of things that kind of want to run at one time, and I'll tell you exactly what they are. RetroArch is one of them, which isn't doesn't take up that much space. But when you throw PCSX2 in the mix, like PlayStation 2 in the mix, things start to slow down a little bit, especially on this computer, because like I said, it's just integrated graphics Dell Office computer. It's nothing that extravagant. And that's why I should have never blindly bought a computer, and I will never make the same mistake because you have to add more RAM. And as we all know, RAM went up in price very high recently because they have AI RAM competing with physical RAM. And yeah, but I would like to run like Sega CD, possibly Sega Saturn. But I mean, usually I don't need. The only reason I want to run everything at one time is so I don't have to lose it again and lose track of it again. Sega Saturn, Sega CD, um, all the 8-bit systems, 16-bit systems, DOS games like a DOS, and I would want to run, yeah, like Scum VM for all the DOS stuff. I'd be running, um, GameCube for sure, and I'd be running PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. I would also be running Sega 32X, and I would have the whole catalog for all these games. Sega 32X, Sega CD, already said that. Yeah, and just ja- Atari Jaguar. Yeah, I would just want to run all these old systems that I didn't get to like buy. Everything's inclusive on RetroArch anyway, so you can get. But the ROM sets do take up a lot of space, and you don't necessarily have to get every single game made in a ROM set for a system. Like you said here, I just got just one game, Bonk, and but I mean this computer's not really that much of a pain in the butt as long as I keep track of the RAM, the space, the disk space. I responsibly just deleted all the videos, and then I was cool. But with all this development stuff, I can kind of only run one thing at a time as far as two systems at a time or something for emulation. But yeah, I think I still have. Oh, sorry to get so excited, but I think I actually still do have DuckStation on here. Pretty sure. Just gonna check real quick. Yeah, DuckStation. I need the DuckStation that's already been unzipped. Where is it? There it is. I don't know how I got so far up there, but yeah, here's DuckStation. Um, it wants an update, but I'm gonna say no. But I can save this for another video. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed Bonk. Really great game. Kind of feel burnt out on all these video attempts, but hope you enjoyed it.